KMES English Medium Junior College. Welcome its 12th standard students for the lecture of psychology. For chapter 1, there is something but what it is. For the topic, the scientific perspective. In the previous lecture, we have studied about modern philosophy, Descartes, Spinoza, Leibniz and Hegel. We have seen that modern philosophy has accepted the concept of substance as important in metaphysics. The French philosopher René Descartes, the father of modern philosophy, defined the substance as that which exists independently. Whereas we see the definition of substance given by Descartes is applicable only to God. So Descartes' metaphysics educates dualism and realism. Coming to Spinoza believed in rationalist tradition. Spinoza argued that if knowledge of the substance does not depend on anything else for its existence, then there should no need of knowledge for anything else for acquiring complete knowledge of it. Spinoza believe that God is the one and only principle that pervades the universe and everything that exists in it. Therefore, he is known as pantheism. Coming to another modern philosopher, Leibniz. Leibniz argued that if we keep dividing the divisible object into parts for many and may end up reaching fundamental indivisible substance known as item. He named this item as monad. Leibniz asserted that God has created this world as the best possible world. Thus, Leibniz combined pluralism and idealism. Coming to the last modern philosopher, that is Hegel. He believed that the entire universe is created from the principle. He called this principle as absolute. Absolute manifests itself in the form of matter, and the universe evolves gradually. This is known as dialectics. Hegel believed that the universe keeps evolving. This was something that we have studied in the previous lecture. In today's lecture for the chapter 4, there is something but what it is. We are going to study about the following subtopics, that is, the scientific perspective and some important points to be remembered from this chapter. So let's begin with this topic, the scientific perspective. Students, in today's lecture we are going to study about the scientific perspective. The scientific perspective about reality. From ancient times, human beings tried to understand the world around them. In this world there are many objects, and these objects give rise to many questions in the mind of human beings. Namely, 1. Is there any similarity between these objects? Second, what makes them differ from each other? Third, is it possible that two different objects have same origin? This question was due to curiosity to explore the world. Answers to this question were found in different ways, like through self-experience, through imagination, through experiment. Such things become the source of gathering knowledge. Experiments were conducted in simple ways. For example, making mercury-based barometer or measuring the speed of falling objects, etc. So knowledge gained through conducting experiments can be verified. This type of knowledge falls under the category of objective knowledge. The instrument, tool used for conducting the experiment becomes important with time. To gain knowledge, use of experiment and instrument becomes unavoidable. Thus, conducting experiment becomes a scientific way to find the objective truth. But the basic object of finding out the nature of reality remains same. However, with time, science progressed and obtained more importance. Many experiments were conducted to answer questions, and every answer gave rise to new questions. But the nature of reality makes us understand that things are different at macro, very large scale, or at micro, small scale. New tools were used to understand reality. Everything that was found to be named. So new knowledge comes up. It requires new technology. For example, it was impossible to imagine any such thing as nucleus or an atom without powerful microscope or other tools. Science has adopted such new terminology from time to time. Sometimes the new terminology is quite similar to the old one. Sometimes even the term is just the same, the meaning changed completely. Philosophers have used terms like particle and atom since long. However, there is a big difference between the way we understand this term today and their original meaning. Sometimes original terminology proves to be insufficient and thus cannot be continued as it is. Ether is an example of such terminology. Sometimes when we are talking of mind or heart, we are exactly talking about brain. Science accepts such changes in the terminology. Use of terminology can be confused if the proper meaning and the use of the term is not taken into account. Thus, improper or inappropriate comparison of the old and new terminology should always be avoided. Students, let us see how the science addresses the question, what is? In today's time, universe is made of particles such as atoms, molecules, ions, photons, etc. The very existence of particles gives rise to various forces such as gravitational force, electromagnetic force, and the two subnuclear forces acting on each other between them. These forces influence properties of matter, different processes that occur in nature as well as growth and behavior of living organisms. The machine and gadgets that we make, the use also function according to these forces and other laws of nature. Thus, it is important to understand the law of nature and their effect on human life. Motion of particles is what we call energy. Today, science explains the nature of reality in this terminology. Many branches of science try to find nature of reality. This search for reality lead to certain important laws of nature. These laws of nature are called as universal laws. Knowledge of these universal laws is the greatest achievement of science. We have seen that science has to offer with respect to metaphysical questions. It is difficult to conclude this discussion without reference to ethical implications. So let us understand how ethical implications are. The ethical implications are concerned with does this search will ever stop? Will we ever satisfied with the answer? These are some major concerns regarding the development of science. We have acquired knowledge of law related to matter and energy. However, we hardly discuss their effect on human life. Instead, all our curiosity is directed toward Big Bang theory and expansion of universe. If curiosity has limited only to the level of such thought, there is no need to raise any concern. But we use tool, equipment and instruction for it. They need resources. Thus, how to prioritize the use of resources become a matter of debate. Should we exploit resources for the sake of knowledge that has a little or no significance on human life? Ethical questions like these are important in the progress of science. Scientists take different positions to these issues. The increasing possibilities of keeping scientific progress on the right path. We have to see to adapt scientific perspective in our life in a better way. If we keep ourselves aware of the development of science, a healthy debate on ethical issues in science, in which scientists and society equally participate, will always be important for appropriate development of science. Students, there are certain important points to be remembered from this chapter, like material elements accepted by Charvaka are earth, water, fire and air. Second, elements of Prakriti are Sattva, Raja and Tama. Third, three levels of reality by Shankar Acharya are Pratibhashika, Vyaghyaharika and Paramartika. Next important point that has to be remembered are next, experience of material object is about the form, color, shape, type, etc. of object. Second, the Jain Darshana classifies all things into two categories, Jiva and Ajiva type. Third, instruments and experiments are necessary to acquire objective knowledge. Fourth, according to Plato, existence of visible world is dependent on world of forms. Next, according to Descartes, corporeal and incorporeal are two independent substances which have opposite qualities. Leibniz was a pluralistic. Next, according to Parmenides, reality is permanent. Charvaka advocates materialism. According to Vaisheshikshaka, there are 9 substances. They are earth, water, fire, air, ether, space, time and mind. Sankaracharya consider Pratibha Shika Satya as dream reality. Materialism, realism and Chitvada believe in existence. Thales, Anaximenes, Heraclitus are monistic.